Hello, everybody. My name is William Primus, and today I'm joined with Paul Johansson and Britta Aguirre. Britta is a candidate running to represent West Virginia's first congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives. We will be asking her a series of important questions about her campaign and her plans for addressing issues that West Virginians face. This interview is not an advertisement or an endorsement. It's simply an opportunity for voters to hear directly from the candidate. So, Paul, if you just want to do a quick introduction.
Yeah, welcome, Britt. Good to have you here. Uh, Will's covered a lot, and we always make the same introduction on these. Is this? We're not journalists. We're citizens. We both live in or near Morgan County, um, and want the best for the state. And we want to really give people a chance to not just in a stump speech sense, but really get to know candidates as a whole character, as a whole human being. So we give you a lot of time. You give as much. You share as much as you want to. Will or I might ask a follow up question if we don't understand or if something wasn't clarified. But it's not about putting you in a position. It's not trying to catch you with anything. It's giving you maximum leeway to really let people get to know you. Um, and I think that pretty much covers it. So
Yep.
welcome.
Awesome. And
Thanks for
thank you.
having me. Thanks
Yeah,
for having me. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb really fast.
yeah, no worries. Mm.
All right.
All righty. All right, y'all, let's go.
Cool, cool. So we'll start with an introduction for you, Britta. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and share your core policies and goals?
Sure. My name is Britt. I am a native Appalachian with roots in revolution. My great grandmother carried food across the battlefield to the men who were in the battle of the Matewan Massacre. My uncle was Ed Chambers, who died on the courthouse steps for his part in the Matewan Massacre after he was acquitted. He was shot in cold blood by the Baldwin Felts detectives while his wife cradled his head on the steps. He had no children yet. And that's where my roots come from. And I grew up hearing those stories from my great grandmother, Phyllis Kirk, who was and lived and died in Mercer County, West Virginia. And as a child, I heard her say those stories, and it was over and over. So I tell you, she's my primary source because she was right there. She had Alzheimer's, and that's what initially, or excuse me, that's what ended up being what she died with. And I will never forget those stories. And it's hard to believe that some people in my family have forgot them because I am not a traditional Logan County resident as a Democrat. My whole family switched to GOP when West Virginia did, because we used to be Democrat and then we switched, and then that's when my family went there. So if if I wasn't following Jesus, would be in MAGA. Basically, is what I mean. Following Jesus, but also if I wasn't didn't critically think, and that's what I'll tell you is that's my family. So my family is very Republican. We actually don't talk about politics at all because I stand toe to toe and nose to nose. I don't. It doesn't matter to me anymore because this is right and wrong. This is not left or right, blue or red. It is. It is morality. It is a humanitarian crisis we're in globally. And so, with that being said, that's my background. I live in Logan County. I have my headquarters in Cabell County. I am an alumni of Marshall University. I graduated from there in 2016 with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication Studies. I studied rhetoric and persuasion, public address. So, things I'm doing right now, things that I always do. I enjoy public speaking. That's exactly what my degree was in. And this gives me an opportunity to make sure I'm refining it and sharpening it every time I speak. And I enjoy doing it. I enjoy studying debate and argumentation because that's, again, what my degree was in. So, with that being said, when Trump was elected, the first time I saw it coming, I saw this coming the first time because his rhetoric mirrors Hitler's. I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, you can sit them side by side. The things that he says, the way he says it, the level of propaganda, the unprecedented levels of propaganda from now in World War II, it's just scary, the similarities. And so the first time around, I just never would have believed he would have got elected a second time, right? So when that happened, I was protesting. I started protesting every Saturday with United West Virginia about, I want to say April, but I feel like it was at the end of March. So almost a year. Okay, I've been protesting with those folks. And no, anyway, time is not here. But anyway, long story short, after he got elected, and I saw Riley Moore give a thumbs up in front of CCOT. It was over. Like, I was protesting, I was doing the activism, and I saw Riley Moore do that during Holy Week as a practicing Catholic. And that Sunday, he went to church. I remember it like it was yesterday because it went right through me because I knew he was Jesus this and Jesus that. So really, white Christian nationalism and my disgust toward it is really what propelled me to say I'm going to do everything I can, including politics. I didn't want to be a politician. I wasn't supposed to run for Congress at 33 years old. I wasn't supposed to be saying arrest the president and abolish ICE at 33. I was supposed to be doing, supposedly I was supposed to be doing other things, but I answered the call. And when you answer the call, you get called on. So with that being said, I tell you, that's a little bit about me. And Marshall University, I was an activist. I was on the front lines advocating for marriage equality. I was the vice president of the Lambda Society. So activism runs deep, and I'm a seasoned activist. So activism, though, turned to candidacy, and that's a little different of a walk and a journey. So that's where I can just kind of pause there. But that's about, like I said, that's about where I'm from, my family, and why I ran. And it was, if I could have ran against Riley Moore, I would have. That's how mad I was. So
Awesome,
Got it.
awesome. I love the detail. Could you tell me a little more about your last name too? You said it
yeah,
was Spanish,
sure.
or is that something you
So
want? Okay.
no, this is perfect because it goes into all the things, and I'll weave it in, and you'll hear. So yeah, so on that, this is my dad's side. So the Roots and Revolution is my dad's side, and that's his maternal side. So his paternal side, my great grandfather is from an immigrant from Spain. Yeah. So he came. So this is a beautiful story, kind of tragic and beautiful, but he came over, was trying to get in. They sent him away for 7 years to Cuba, and it took him 7 years to find the right appropriate documentation to get in the United States legally. So when he finally did that, it was in a boat. I'm talking like boat, like
Mhm.
row, row, row your boat. Coming over, and then he came back and he finally got in after that timeline. And then he settled as a coal miner in Raleigh County. And my grandfather grew up during the Great Depression, and so he lived in coal camps. Okay, his grandmother ran the boarding houses in the coal camps. So I knew about script. I knew about all that. That was our heritage. I knew about not crossing the picket line. I knew about don't lick the boots. Don't lick the boots of the company store. We're not doing that. So anyway, but during that time, my grandfather he's a pale immigrant, but he still was Hispanic, right? Um, he was treated worse for being an immigrant and for being Spanish and Hispanic. So when my grandfather, not my great grandfather, but so when my grandfather got the opportunity to start marking white, encouraged from my great grandfather, because quote, they treat white people better. And so my grandfather, then we kind of basically lost our Hispanic check mark when they would ask. And so from then we've just marked white, and I can pass for that because we're pale from Spain. We're pale folk over there. So I say all that because of the white supremacy why my question is, why are white supremacists okay with being white supremacists? Okay, that shouldn't happen in America at 2026. No, sir, no, ma'am. So, with that being said, I tell that story because I went on a decolonization journey, and I went on a moment of having to deal with that harsh truth of finding and getting closer to power through my lineage. It wasn't my choice to do that, but my lineage chose to get like proximity to power. They chose to change our social location to make our lives easier. And so, in one direction, you can say, you know what? Thank you. But in another direction, I say, how sad that now my culture is gone. And where we see white supremacy, this flare up in the White House, in the governor's mansion, in the Capitol, and immigration. That's where all of this is stemming from, is white supremacy and racism. So that's why I say I'm going to leave it in, because I'm staunchly against white supremacy. I hope everybody around me is, but I also am staunchly against white Christian nationalism. Jesus wasn't white also, by the way. I'm pretty sure we can talk about that. So anyway, long story short, I want to tackle the issue of whiteness when I'm able to, and I haven't, I would like to consult more with my DEI team before taking that on, because I do have one, because that's the thing, is like, I choose DEI over dictatorship. I would rather have diversity versus a dictator. I don't need to be the center voice as a white cis woman all the time. I like to center marginalized groups, and that's how I learned about my lineage. That's how I learned to deconstruct even capitalism. We're going to get real deep. Let's pause there, because they were going over there. But like, I had to deconstruct colonization, and that was done to my family in Spain too, because that was, they were colonized over there. So it's just really deep, and that's where a lot of our problems stem from. Like, and that's a theory, like, that's a theory, that's out there. So anyway, so we'll just pause and we'll just keep going.
All right.
Paul, go ahead
Well,
with the next
I'm going to
question.
go for the next two questions, because I think you've covered the first one of these. And it sounds like so the first we would have followed up with what influenced you to pursue politics. I really think that you've covered, but if you want to take another scoop at that, go right ahead. And the next question is allow you to look forward in your campaign. It's not intended as a gotcha, but it's for things that might be used against. So the
Oh
question
wait,
is there any
I think you skipped
did I
one. Sorry, it's like about where you
grow
grew
up?
up and everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true. I think you covered that.
Yeah,
You're right.
you
Did you grow up here? And if not, yeah, I think you covered it pretty thoroughly. How
Thank
did you
you.
come to know West
Yeah.
Virginia? I
Yeah.
think you trounced that one pretty good, but go ahead. And
You're
what
good.
influenced you to pursue politics? You're right. Will's right. Yeah,
yeah.
I skipped a question.
Logan, West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I definitely,
Okay.
that's exactly why I pursued politics, and that's the prompting event. The prompting event to mobilize me to be a candidate is Riley Moore, and that's on record many places. Because when I get to Congress, if he's elected again, and I get to Congress, so who knows? But if I get to see, as soon as I see him, he's knowing, because I troll those guys at the Capitol all the time. I've seen Carol, I've seen
I
Shelly,
saw
I've seen
your
Jen.
video with I think it was Carol Miller. You're like, oh, you finally saw her.
I did. And I was like,
Good.
hi,
I
Carol.
saw
Nice
that.
to see you in public. And she was like, she literally did this, like, okay. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, I covered it, I believe. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Awesome. All
Awesome.
right. So
Yeah. Well, I
covered those.
guess
The next one was like I said, I'm encapsulating because I think you went deep. And like I said, all of these questions you can come back to if you feel like you want to recover something. So just keep going with that. But the next question was: is there anything about your history which, if revealed, could harm your campaign?
Well, if there would be, there's nothing that I feel the urgency to get out in front of just yet, because I'm a person who I operate in integrity. My campaign operates in integrity. We are very ethical to a T when we submit our FEC reports. To an absolute T. My campaign is very professional in that. So that's a part of what I'm doing and why I'm running and why I take this so seriously, is because we need bad people out of politics. There needs to be actually some good people, like heart wise. I'm talking like, okay, if your heart's in the right space, why are you oppressing the unhoused community? Jesus loved those guys. Why are you? And they claim to be Christians. So what's up with that? That's not a good heart space. That's not it. And so I say all that because nowadays in my life, I've been through so much drama and trauma that there would be nothing somebody could say that I haven't already admitted to, I hadn't already repented of in my faith. I'm talking about faith, and already that the Lord won't see me to be redeemed by that. And I say that for everybody. Like, that's the thing too, is like when somebody, for example, when somebody gossips about somebody else to me, and they actually say like, hey, I'm holding this against them in their past, my initial response is like, my faith is the Lord don't remember that. Like, that's because in my faith, if once we repent for that, once we turn away, he don't remember that anymore. So also, so if somebody would bring that up to me, I'm gonna go, why are you gonna remember my sin when the Lord don't even remember it? And that would be my response. Like, if I would come out and then I would address it. But as right now, I am getting a little spiritual, but
That's
this question of integrity and getting in front of things, it is spiritual because you got to get your heart space right. So I get my heart space right. I'm in my prayer closet a lot. I do things like there's things I do video and there's things I don't. There's things that is pure service, and that's okay because my left hand ain't supposed to know what my right hand is doing, is what Jesus said. And so when I keep that right and I balance, um, I'm metaphorically love and war, when we balance rest and revolution, when we balance these things, there's always grace. There's always more grace. So at this time, I don't feel the need to, I don't have any skeletons, truly. And if they, like I said, and if they do, I have a comms team and we'll work with that. And as I just keep myself, I'm as disciplined as I've ever been, you guys.
awesome.
And
Awesome.
I appreciate that. So, but I will say, overall though, like like the major thing about campaign for me is campaign finance reform, because there's no way that as a candidate anywhere can ethically fundraise consistently all the time. That's not sustainable in any way, and there's no way in my view to do it ethically. So that's why I'm centering all this around the policy that, which I think I was asked a moment ago, is we need to overturn Citizens United and get dark money out of politics. Because as soon as I got in this race, it's always been about money, 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 money. But you know what? They're not wrong. They're not wrong, and that's the sad part. So, like, and I
Shouldn't
can
be
talk
about
more
money.
about that later. Go ahead.
It
No, that's
shouldn't be
awesome.
about money. Like, yeah, I like the passion. You're very passionate
Same.
about this, and
Uh,
it's
uh,
awesome.
and you this is off topic a little bit, and it's more personal, because you raised something, and I don't think we've had a candidate describe their ethics and do a full circle ground, your ethics, your spirituality, and integrity as a personal, as a behavioral, and a spiritual practice. One of the things that I've run into, it's the difference between repenting, which I believe is an internal experience. By the way, Buddhist, by choice. I was baptized Catholic, but that's it. So I escaped the church immediately after the baptism. Um, and so the difference between repenting and amends. Amends is an exterior act, and I've always felt, being more of on the Buddhist side, the repenting is your inner growth, getting yourself right. But the amends are what um, create the space for the harm done. So it's undoing the harm as part of the process. Uh, would you mind expanding on that? And that's really not one of our regular questions. It's just a personal option.
Well, Buddhist, me, yoga teacher. That's
There
how
you go.
Buddhism came from Hinduism, right? Because it was
Yep.
a revolution and a rebellion from the modern Hinduism, right? That's the
Mhm.
whole reason why the Buddha, why he chose to do the thing. So, yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing because I believe in forgiveness no matter what. Believe in praying for my enemies because in my faith, if the Lord on the cross can so, Father, forgive them. And
No, what they do.
so what? So I can't forgive somebody for cussing me out when I was 17.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's not, and I can't. Can I forgive somebody spitting in my face? Maybe after a year. Give me 365 days. I'm good. I'm joking. Um, so I agree with what you're saying, and this is what I'll say too is I know what I'm agreeing with is those two are absolutely different. Because you don't have an internal change without the outside changing too.
Right.
Mhm.
Because I do believe the inside comes first. But what I will say is, I do DBT, dialectical behavior therapy. It's been very
Mhm.
successful for me, which Marshall Linehan was a Zen master. Okay, who developed it, and a part of that though is kind of inside out. So I think it's a both and. A part of that therapy is behavior before belief. So I have to act like I forgive you before I can forgive you. I have to act like I love myself before I love myself. I have to act like I've changed to my spouse before he will do that. So this comes back to, and I love how we're just circling back, because this comes back to how I run my campaign and how I ask for your vote and how I'm going to flip West Virginia blue. You know how? I'm going to earn the right to ask for your vote. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm not going to brag about it, come with a humility. And then once I earn that right to have more deeper conversation, I'm going to go, yeah, I'm running for Congress. Did you know that? And then it goes from there. So I earn the right to even tell them. And then I earn another to say, hey, I would love it if you'd vote for me. I'm a Democrat. Don't hold that against me. Wink. I'm kidding. So I hope that answers your question, because
Yes.
it's a both and. And you can't say you follow Jesus and then say you're starting a war for the second coming of Christ. You can't say again, back to the homelessness that's in the homelessness bill that's in legislature. You can't say and start your session with prayer and then say we're going to ban sleeping outside because we don't want you to do that. I'm sorry, Jesus would be serving those people. Jesus would be picking up the people released from ICE. Jesus would have been deported also if he were here. So anyway, I could keep going. So that's how I feel, because, and I'll just end with this, is that like I've recently, which I told Will this over text, I think, is that like I've driven people after they were released from ICE, and and I dropped everything I was doing, and they're like, no, we'll figure it out. I was like, no, I signed up for this. I said, I know this is what the Lord would be doing if he were here right now. This is exactly where he would be. And I don't mean to get, now I'm getting preachy, but at the same time, I don't know, I'm a Christian, and I went to college and somehow came out left, on the left. I don't know. So don't teach. And then they're mad because I'm using critical thinking, and I'm following the actual gospel. I don't know. It's just weird.
All right. Will?
Awesome. So the next one is a little fun. It is, who are the people you don't want voting for you?
People who don't want to, vote for me. I don't want them to vote for me if they don't want to.
Yeah.
That's why it's a democracy.
Yes. Right.
I think that may be the first answer that way. I want everyone to
True.
vote for me. Thank you. So next, what commitments, and you once again, you touched on it because you're leading us, not surprising. What commitments are you willing to make regarding the sources of funding for your campaign?
Sure. One of the endorsements I have and I'm very proud of is with Track APAC, and that I have committed to not taking a single dime for the pro lobbyist group APAC, who are trying to change their name, by the way, because they know, because they're getting excuse me, no, I can say this, they're getting shit on
Yeah,
in the
we all.
midterms. They're getting shit on. Anyway, APAC is because this group, it's a pack called Track APAC. They are they're against genocide, and that's the whole thing. And so that whole pack came about to get that money out and to stop the genocide from happening. I'm not afraid to use the G word. I actively donate to folks in Palestine, currently in Gaza, who the ceasefire never happened. Fake news, by the way, because sends me the media. I see it firsthand. Donate, I want to be clear because this is recorded. I donate from my personal funds. There's no campaign money that does that. So just let me be I need to clarify that
Thank
really
you for the
fast.
clarification.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's my personal, it's personal funds. So that's one of my endorsements is I will not take any of that money at all. I am not going to take any corporate money. So I went today for the West Virginia Can't Wait endorsement. So I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful for that one. They also, I pledged for them also not to take corporate money at all. And then there's another pledge I've taken to not take any PACs that have to do with AI or crypto. And the last thing that I've pledged to do is to not become a lobbyist 5 years for 5 years until after the time I leave office. So for 5 years, I won't be a lobbyist, and in 5 years I can be. So those are the things I've committed to.
Thank you. Really detailed. See, is it you for
So
me? Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so our next one is it's a little bit about, the issues in West Virginia, and it's many West Virginians have faced issues for decades like addiction, high healthcare costs, electricity costs, etc. Uh, and you don't have to talk about only those, you can talk about any that you have on your mind, but what will you do differently to ensure your plans that turn into results?
Sure. I will answer my phone, unlike Carol Miller. So there's step one. I'm gonna answer my phone. I'm gonna email my constituents back. I am constantly on my phone. Me and you've rescheduled this twice, and I'm grateful we finally got this a third time. So I answer my phone. Um, so that's step one, guys. Get back with your constituents. I thought that was politics 101. So our career politicians are doing politics bad and not correct. So there's step one. We're gonna change that. So step two is we're going to invest in West Virginia infrastructure because it has to happen or we're going to lose our people. Well, we already are, but there's not going to be any incentive at all to keep a business here. And if we're still trying to expand and work as a capitalist society and entrepreneurial place which I'm seeing us expand to, right, as West Virginia, they're not going to have any incentive to stay here. They can't ride our roads. We can't drive on our roads. We can't afford our car payment. All that our utility bills are way too high. We can't afford any of that. And then rent is going up too. So if it is even service-based industry, the folks who are hourly, they can't invest in the service-based industry. You see what I mean? So it's just like it's a whole rapid cycle. If we don't do something, we're going to lose everybody and we're going to be poisoned. We're going to have to, that's what I foresee coming, unfortunately. So, what I will do, I drafted a sample legislation that I would do when I go to Congress about enforcing and keeping financial responsibility with our senators and Congress people, specifically Jim Justice. So one of the parts of my legislation that I drafted sampling is that it's called the Justice Tax Recovery Act, and we would enforce in the IRS. We would have more cohesive communication, have a task force, and we would go after these folks and their tax obligations and liens. And so we would collect it, and 20% of that in this legislation would go back to states who qualify, which we automatically do because our roads are like D plus, to who qualify with bad infrastructure. And so in that money, we could fix our roads. We can condemn our tolls, like on the turnpike. We can buy back our turnpike from Pennsylvania folks out of town, carpetbaggers that are profiting from us like usual and extracting from West Virginia, which we're so tired of because how many years has it been? I mean, it's the same story. And we could also use it for locally, like counties and municipalities. The only thing it can't be used for is campaigns, like political campaigns and politicians. So that's a part of where I'm thinking of is transparency and accountability. So when I go to Congress, and this is what I'll kind of end here with, is I want to improve congressional oversight. There's no enforcing of the Constitution. There's no oversight. There's nothing. So that's why I want to go. I'm a truth teller, a change maker, and that's what I'll be focused on. And I'm going to bring back and have these earmarked funds back to West Virginia because we don't see that with Carol. She literally voted against the infrastructure bill that was already bringing in money. We don't understand why she votes the way she does, but we know it ain't for the people. It's for compromised money and corporations. So,
All right. All right, here's a next. Thank you. Actually, I want to take a breath. That's a lot. So once again, if it comes back, always feel free to come back. When experts present different recommendations, what process do you use to reach a well-reasoned conclusion? And I got to guess at what this is going to be.
so we have to listen first. We have to listen first, and we have to actively listen. A lot of, especially like the House Democrats, that's what they did this summer, and that's what they got better at is listening. Today on the House floor, I heard Mike Pushkin say, I talked to a constituent this morning, and this is what they said, and this is why they want me to vote against this. We need more of that. So at the very beginning, I listen, and then we have to understand their point of view. And why are they telling me this? So I have to have some prompting questions. I have to have some follow-up questions. And then, like, I always, like, if it's constructive criticism, usually I take it, put it in my back pocket, and most of the time I change it. I change what they ask me to change to number one, let them know I've listened, but number two, if it's offended them, to make repair. Okay, so amends. So that's another thing, repair. And also, like, they might be right. I never want to be the smartest person in the room. Matter of fact, I'm grateful when I'm not. So does that answer is that what you're asking me? Like how I would take that kind of time to listen?
Yeah, you mentioned critical thinking and your skills you draw on, and it was just a minute how you solve problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure. So first, like when you just started this moment, you have to take a breath. Impulsive thinking impulsive thinking isn't good for problem solving. Impulses and emotional responses usually create more problems. And that we would, if we could effectively regulate our emotions, we wouldn't be bombing Nigeria on Christmas. We wouldn't be sending out missiles in the middle of the ocean and bombing survivors, international war crimes. If we were emotionally regulated and we all took a breath in the, who knows? We could, Lord, we'd be somewhere else. We'd be a completely different world if that really happened.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that sarcastically and joking, but I'm actually not. Like, I'm like, okay, toxic
Because that's the
masculinity.
goal, you know.
Yeah.
I would enjoy to see everybody be emotionally regulated or be able to regulate their emotions and, you know, think critically before we do things, you know.
Right. And the thing about critical thinking, Will, is that it takes time.
You have patience, like it's
Mhm.
not a thing, and getting people to that point, it's not just a one day thing. It's not an instant thing. And you also have
Right.
to view people as worth it, you know, and I think
Wow.
all of us here probably definitely view people like that. Like everybody's worth it, you know, at that point
Yeah.
to
Yep.
support and help them. But anyways, I guess if that was all the answers for that, we'll move on to the next one.
If you'll indulge me for one moment,
Yeah, of
in
course.
college, just a moment, it's not going to be long, but in college, like I said, I studied persuasion,
Yeah.
and there's two ways that happens, and it's fun. It's the emotional circuit, and then it's the other circuit, which is not emotional, which is critical thinking. And the thing about the emotion is that it might work quicker than this side, but it actually doesn't last and it doesn't stick. So they could be easily like they could change their mind in a
Yeah.
year or less. Like, or I'm just giving a time frame, but they could change their mind. If you use this other side of critical thinking, it's going to take evidence, it's going to take proof, it's going to take personal experience, it's going to take anecdote, it's going to take openness and willingness. But once you get to the end of that circuit, you have physically changed something in their brain and you have made a mark and now you've
Yeah.
forever changed their view. So it does take time and it does take nurture and it does take patience. And like you said, and it takes like empathy, like MAGA, when they come back crying, I'm not going to say, I told you so. I'm going to go, come on, baby, let's go. You hungry? You want something to eat before you join the
Yeah.
resistance? I got you. Come and eat. Let's go. Okay.
That's lovely to hear too. You know, that's
Thank you.
how yeah, I wish that more people honestly viewed it that way instead of just like willing to bash them forever, you know.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. And I look at like moving forward as a society, like how are we going how do we want to be? Like do we want to continue putting people down or you know. But anyways, let's get to the next question. So
Yeah.
wait, Paul, was it yeah, it
Yep.
was
Yep. You
me.
got it.
All right,
Is
so
Yep. Go ahead.
okay, so this one's fun too. It is what's one necessary policy to address West Virginia's longstanding issues that might be unpopular but you believe is essential?
Unpopular?
Yeah, like
It
a
might be.
policy that might be unpopular in West Virginia, but you believe is going to be essential. Is there anything
Oh,
you can? Yeah.
okay. So that's like a twofold because I understand what you're saying. Well, so we got to understand that I'm a Democrat and I'll have progressive policies. So it might be unfavorable to the folks who are GOP. So that's what I'll clarify. But universal health care is what I would feel like would be controversial to the GOP in West Virginia. And I'm going to take it to overhear those. My first initial reaction before you said unpopular, what I would love to see West Virginia do is amend their constitution to include that clean water and clean air is a right. And if we don't have it, and that would start
That
everything.
makes sense for West Virginia.
Yeah, so that's my initial answer, but that's not what you asked. And I hope that helps, because that's what I feel like West Virginia should absolutely do. Like, even in Congress, like, I'm going to overturn Citizens United. I'm going to help bring something back, bring some type of abortion rights. That's a whole thing. That's going to be an uphill battle since it was overturned. But I never dreamed Roe would be overturned in my lifetime. I really didn't. So, but that's where I'm going, is I'm going to, like, protect and defend the Constitution. That's what's under attack. Our rights, our literal rights. So, but that's what I would do, and that's what I think would be unpopular. But Sam Petzonk in the West Virginia Democratic Party, he put forth an idea that we take PEIA, that's for public employees, and we just open it up to non-state employees, and that would be PEIA for all, which would be universal health care, single payer. And it's not in a vacuum, but it would be easier to do than bringing in something new. So it'd be like by state level, which I agree with, believe it or not. But it would be open it up to non-state employees, but we have to do a couple other things, which is have a living wage, cap the cost of utilities, and make sure child care is guaranteed. So if we can kind of work through all of those, PEIA would help the economy, lift it up out, and all those other three things could kind of filter back in and make that stable, not just economy, but society. So those are my thoughts about that, but it's also educated from Sam Petzonk with the West Virginia Democratic Party.
Gotcha. All right. Let me go for it. Let's see. What experience or expertise best prepares you for this role, and where do you expect to rely on advisors?
So my activism community and my experience has prepared me to be bold enough to speak. My degree has prepared me to be a public speaker and to use this gift I have of public speaking, and I have no fear of doing it at all. To do it and do it effectively, and my drive is helping me to polish that. So that's the experience that's really prepared me to be here. I personally loved Obama. I thought what made him different was his public speaking, because he was one of the greatest orators of our entire our time, in my view. So that's what I will say has prepared me to be able to be a leader. But I am a leader, so there's that. So I am a leader, but to sound like a leader, and then my humility, okay, gets me to a point where what I just said a moment ago is that I'll take your constructive criticism, and if it's not constructive, if it's meant another way, I'll know it. Like, I'll know it, and I'll tell you stepped on my toes, but that's usually not the case. Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. How can I repair? How can I repair? So I always go to that. Conflict resolution is very important in my life, but also in my campaign. And I feel like there was a second part to that question.
It's where do you expect to rely on advisors?
Okay, so I rely on advisors every single day. I have a campaign manager, so he's very seasoned he's been in politics since 2014. So my campaign entire team is that's what we've been doing from the beginning, advising comms. I'm very, like, my degrees in communication studies, and I know I told you all that and all the things, but I run things before I want to take an angle at something, before I want to say this, before I'm advised. Like, like my post about, if y'all go to my Facebook, you'll see it. It's getting a lot. I specifically tailored that to talk about economic policy with the picture that's a little flamboyant and progressive. I don't know. You'll see it. It's my Eat the Rich picture. But my point is, before I posted it, I was prompted by a few people said, "Hey, you need to talk about policy more." Okay, so I take that advice. So then I crafted the message. So then I sent it off, 2 drafts of this caption, 2 drafts before I published it. So y'all can see it after this. But in my view, I'm hopeful that one goes viral. I don't know if it'll go fully viral, but I really am, because it's a good caption. It's a good message, and I will stick with that. So I'm advised all the time. That's what I say. I'm advised all the time. I rarely besides friends, like hanging out with friends, hanging out with organizers, activists, and stuff like that, in my like outside of that realm, in my campaign, in my professional life, I rarely take action without being advised. So that's what I'll bring that back.
All right. Got it. Well, I think you're sound. I don't hear you.
Oops, my bad.
Yeah.
All right, anyways, the next one. I know you talked about this a little bit too, how your views on, your opposition, but if you want to tell us a little more about how you would be willing to engage with the constituents that did not vote with you or that did not vote for you or who, strongly disagree with you.
Oh, well, what is it? You catch more flies with honey, not vinegar.
Hmm?
I mean, I'm around fascists all day, every day when I'm at the Capitol, and it's just you put a smile on your face, you speak your truth, and you guard your heart. And as long as all those three things happen, you can laugh about it later. And that's what I say. So people who don't vote for me, like I said, if they don't want to vote for me, they shouldn't. But I'm going to earn their vote. So every single person who does vote for me, I have earned. So that's how I say. So, so that's okay because that's the default. I already assume they're not voting or they haven't voted or whatever. So I earn it. So that's my answer.
All right. I love it.
Awesome.
And by the way, I'm writing, of course, I'm off to the side writing a lot of potential quotes here. I won't pay you a royalty, but I just wanted to thank you.
Yeah, of course. You're fine.
So,
royalty, no royalty.
Actually,
it's fine.
and actually, we didn't cover something at the beginning, but we'll want to do it at the end about how this gets used. Will,
we can do it
I just real
after.
we do
Yeah,
it
we,
after.
we can do it
It's no
after,
no
but
no no catch or anything. Just so you understand that you have access to everything that we've done,
Yeah.
and it's
yeah.
public. But there's point at which we would, insofar as we're capable, intervene if somebody misused this material.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff, once it's out there, there's very little you can do with it. But we would do what we can if it were misused.
Mhm. Of
I under-
course.
yeah, I take that risk every time I open my mouth, guys. You're fine. It's
Got
fine.
it.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
of course, I'll send you the video unedited if you want, and I'm gonna post it on my website, of course, if that's okay, and advertise it. And it's not gonna be edited. It's gonna be
Yeah,
other
you're
than like
good.
watermarks, for the my YouTube. But
Yep.
yeah, I guess Paul, if you don't forget about
Yep.
your ranked choice voting,
Yep. You got
and I
your
guess the last one, you kind of talked about this too. If you do want to expand about on it, it's, what is your plan for transparency and accountability while in office? If you have anything to expand on, you've said a lot about that.
I have, but this is what I'll say. The moment you think I'm not being transparent, all you gotta do is send me a DM and I will explain everything. That's the thing is I have you don't have to Facebook blast me. That's to anybody. Y'all don't have to Facebook blast me. Just send me an email. I will say I had this one troll. This is I'm gonna make this ties in. I had this one troll, bless her heart. She was trying to catch me in some stuff and like I had one was on my FEC thing. I bought an Airbnb and it said it was from California, but that weekend I was in Huntington, so I was in the district. So, but it was recorded from Airbnb from California. Okay, like that's how the receipt was, and that's what it was on my FEC thing. And so, like, she didn't know the whole story. Like, don't try to humble somebody when you don't know the whole story. And you don't have the facts. And there was something else she said because I have my fundraising team is out of state, but most federal candidates' fundraising teams are because West Virginia's resources are limited. I hopeful to change that in the future. Okay. So anyway, and that's if I'm getting out in front of it with this statement, that's fine, but that don't bother me because they are, like I said, they're very good at what they do. So long story short, I have receipts I pay to them, which is again, completely everything's fine and all the things. And she's like saying it's to a housing development. I'm like, sis, that's not like, there's two businesses with the same name. And so she tried to blast me on Facebook. She got 0 likes on it at all. Literally, nobody went to her page at all. So that's the funny part about it. But my point being is like, you don't have to do that to me. Once you see me, like, and I said in a comment, I said, everything you're saying here is wrong. Send me a DM. I'm happy to clear it, or email. I'm happy to clear it up. But I'm not going to sit here in Facebook comments and have something like you said to be screenshotted or whatever, because like she's not even correct.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll say is like, if I don't think I'm being transparent and you don't think and you want to and all that, especially once I'm elected, you're supposed to hold me accountable. So I
Mhm.
hope I hold everybody to that. My videographer, Amy Essington, she's a trans woman, and we talk a lot. And one of the things I told her, as I said, if you think that I'm being politically, I forget how I put it. I said, but what I would never want to do is abandon my values because of populace. It's shifting, like people all of a sudden turning on trans people. I never want to turn on my trans community because it's politically um
Expedient.
yeah, so like it's
Yeah.
politically favorable to do so. Like that's what a sellout does, and I'm not a sellout. So I told her, I said, if you ever think I'm doing that, you send me a message. So, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like that's not me coming from anybody. So that's how what I want to say about that is like, yeah, I've talked about it because I run my campaign. My entire campaign is based on that.
Mhm.
So if you have a problem, yo, I'll solve it. I'm joking. I'm joking. Just send me a
I got
DM.
gotcha. I
That's
think you'll
wonderful.
appreciate the where Will and I got to know each other was on a Facebook page in our county, which is explicitly designed on that principle. Is we try to get people to engage directly, but if they're either wrong about something or they deliberately lie, that comes out when you confront them and say, that's wrong, right? Um, you can defend it all you want, but that's not helpful. Just admitting to it and moving on is perfectly fine. So I appreciate that the direct communication really helps clear up a lot of the misinformation and obvious lies that get put out. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
Will gave me a an opening to what would be our last question, and we can go further. I mean, have a little bit of a back up and back if you want. And that was, what is your opinion on ranked choice voting? And is there anything that you would do with that given the opportunity?
Well, transparently, I don't think I've heard that concept, if I'm being honest with you. Do you care to elaborate on that?
Yes, ranked choice voting is voting in which every voter gets to select um, the series of voters they want most preferred, second most preferred, third, so that if you have a runoff type election, what you do is everyone gets their first voter. If no one gets 50%, then everyone's second voter is moved up. The one with the least votes is dropped out, and their votes go to the next person in line.
Okay.
Uh, and so forth until you end up with two people and whoever has the most between two.
Truthfully, I would like to know more before is this something new? Is this new?
It's been around for a little while.
Uh-huh.
Probably the more known example nationally now. It's in Alaska, a couple other states, I believe, and it was in New York City. So Mamdani, New York City, has ranked choice voting. So after the bottom tier candidate was eliminated, more people were voting for him. Now he made it through the final election without that, but it's what gets oftentimes. Lincoln was a ranked choice voter, by the way.
Okay.
The way things used to be done is you had multiple votes for the president back in the 1800s, and people would select their first, their second, their third, and whoever dropped out, their votes would go to the next person. That's it. But it's worth looking it up. If you don't know about it, certainly take a look at it
Yeah.
if you choose to. And thanks for
Thank you.
answering that.
Yeah,
Welcome.
and I'm not afraid to say I don't know. I was in Braxton County, and that kind of happened to me too. But it was more like this gentleman. We had to go back and forth with it because it's one of those moments where he knew I didn't know the answer and he just kept going with the questions. And so when somebody does that, because I'm trained in debate and argumentation, I know there's something going on, right? There's something going on. Like he's feeling something. He's emotionally charged. There's a reason he's doing this. He's not just doing this to harm me. So like take that personal out. And I just sat there and listened. And then I just paused when he was done and I just asked him. It was funny. I didn't mean to be funny, but I go, are these rhetorical questions? And he starts laughing. And then I'm looking around anyway. So then he goes on to his point, which was his point was this. You can't come up here in Braxton County or Pendleton County, where it's in the Eastern Panhandle, and come up here with Southern coalfield stories. He's like, you need to know the geography and you need to know the things and you need to know the audience. So now he said it in a delivery that I would have been different. Okay. I would have said it differently. And his delivery was a little uh crass, and it's okay. That's okay. That's okay. And we eventually got to this point where I was telling him, I said, I tell you what though, I said, I might not know what you're saying. I said, but number one, I'm showing up caramel or don't. And so I'm here to tell you, thank you for telling me this. And the next time I come back, I'll have an answer for that. And then I also told him, and then he kept going. He's like, I promise I'm not coming at you any type of way, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at him and I go, I'm going to Congress. Do you not think that I'm going to have other white men stand up and be a little crass to me? I said, that don't bother me a bit. I said, but what I will tell you is what I hear you say is that you want me to win and you're wanting to prepare me when I go to Pendleton County. That makes sense.
Nice.
And so
Yeah.
what I hear you say is like, this is something that I need, like something new. And I don't think you were rude at all, like in any way, like because I didn't know. But what I'm hearing is that that's just something I'm going to take. I'm going to study more, because I'll tell you this too. And this, like I said, it don't have to be too much more back and forth, but I'm studying. I'm studying right now foreign policy. I'm studying immigration policy. I'm studying economic policy. I'm also studying, guys, alternatives to the electoral college. I'm studying what's a hypothetical if we would abolish the electoral college. So this type of thing you're talking about with this ranked choice voter, it's new to me. That's good because we need new. So that's good to me. So like I said, like that's my, again, hearing I'm not with this specific topic and others, I'm not the smartest person in the room. Good. So now I'm gonna go read.
Yep. It's all it's on Wikipedia, so it's and there's plenty of good explanations. I wouldn't worry about all the different nuances that people play at. I think most people will only understand a few little things about it, and that's perfect. All
Right.
right. Yep.
So, but yeah, that's where I come from when it's faced with like that. And I've had good, bad, ugly, conversations with constituents going, "Hey, Britt, I didn't like what you did, and I had to do repair." And um, this race leading up to where I'm going is preparing me for where I'm going. I mean, it's just how it is. Like I'm going through everything for the first time, learning lessons, not the easiest way, but not the hard way yet. You know what I mean? So it's just like trying to use wisdom. And according to Ecclesiastes and Proverbs, I leave you with this: the first rule of wisdom. You know what it is? Get wisdom. That too, but get wisdom is the first thing to do. Is get wisdom. Do it. Just do it. So
Awesome. Awesome.
anyway, y'all have been very
Well,
thoughtful, and this has been a very
well,
nice
you as
conversation.
well. And yeah, we
Yeah.
thank you again for your time and the passion. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video.